You know, I've always loved a comeback story, especially when it involves one of the bands that defined my generation. And guess what? The Guess Who are coming back. That's right. The Canadian rock legends who gave us songs like American Woman, These Eyes, No Time, and Break It to Them Gently have reunited and are coming back and making a Canadian tour in 2026. But here's the thing, their return isn't just about music, it's a lesson for all of us who have hit that so called retirement stage. Because maybe, just maybe, there's an encore performance that is even better than what we were in the first act. Hi, my name's Tom, and you're watching Living Life Better. Thanks for watching. You know, the Guess Who were part of the soundtrack of our lives, especially if you were raised and growing up in the 60s and 70s. Their songs played continuously in arenas, in in stores, in our car radios when we were driving up north to go to the cottage, and there's songs that we still hum today. But like many of the great bands that were caught up in time, members went their separate ways. Life moved on, and for years it seemed like their story had been written. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, they're back with new energy but the same heart. You know, they could have stayed retired, just living off the memories, but they chose something different, to keep creating, to keep connecting, to keep doing what they love. Does that sound familiar? Well, it should, because it's what so many retirees are doing today. You know, for years we've been told that retirement is supposed to mean you sit back, pack it in, buy a fishing pole, sit on the back porch with a cup of coffee and just take it easy. But what we're learning is, and what the Guess Who are showing us, is that retirement isn't the ending, it's a remix. Right now, there are millions of retired people that are unretiring. Some are going back to work part time, others are starting a small business or helping out, volunteering somewhere. But it's not because they have to, it's because they want to. Because they Guess Who, they've got something to share, a song to sing, a story to tell, and a purpose that keeps them moving. When I heard about the Guess Who coming back, I was out walking my dog Nancy. It's an old English bulldog that we have, and I just couldn't believe that they were actually making a Canadian comeback. So I went home that night and I turned on the YouTube channels to watch some of their old concerts. And I was watching one, and they had Burton Cummings up there and Randy Bachman, and they were playing some of the old songs. And I had my Apple earpods in so I could crank the music up loud. And my wife, Ann, tapped me on the shoulder and she said, "Look at this." And it was a picture of Burton Cummings playing the keyboard, and it had his age down there. His age was being 77. I could not believe this. I could not believe that my hero, my one of the artists that I love listening to was actually 77. But they were facing the same things that we're going to be facing. The idea of coming back can feel a little bit intimidating. You might wonder, do you still have what it takes? Well, people still take me seriously. But here's something worth remembering. The Guess Who are facing the same thing. You know, they don't know whether the crowds are going to show up or not. My guess is they probably will, or if anyone will really care. And yet, when they step out on that stage, they'll discover something very powerful. That people are still listening, people are still enthusiastic about their music, because authenticity never goes out of style, and neither does our purpose. So, my question for you today is, what's your encore performance? What dream did you have put on the shelf when you retired? Maybe it's working with younger people, maybe it's writing a book, maybe it's teaching music, maybe it's starting a little business, maybe it's going back to work part-time. You just don't have to go back to where you were. You can rediscover who you still are. So, just like the Guess who are coming back and making a Canadian tour in 2026, that our second act is just waiting for us. And who knows, maybe this chapter might be the one that brings the most joy, meaning, and connection. So, let's turn up the volume, step back onto the stage of life, and keep playing the music that we're meant to play. After all, the show's not over yet. Listen, this is Tom, and I'm just living life better because every moment matters. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again.